Nathan had been alone on the listening post for 31 days. The station floated above a cold, dead planet, orbiting in silence. There were no nearby ships, no signals, and no one else for 100 light years. It was the kind of post where time moved slowly and thoughts grew heavy. The only thing that broke the silence was the hum of the machines and the occasional flicker of old lights. Nathan spent his days checking the sensors, maintaining the systems, and trying not to lose his mind. Sometimes he would scroll through the old records stored in the archive just to pass the time. On the 32nd night, he found something strange. Hidden deep in the archive was a small file labeled in a forgotten language. The translation program barely worked, but it gave him a single word, Kelia. He stared at the word for a while. It looked beautiful and strange. For some reason, he whispered it out loud, Kelia. The lights dimmed for a moment. A soft tremble passed through the station. Nathan sat still, unsure if it was his mind playing tricks on him. He looked at the artifact near the archive, a smooth, black stone with silver lines carved into it. The lines had never glowed before, but now they shimmered faintly. He stood up and walked closer. His breath fogged the glass around the artifact, and the hair on his arms stood up. He checked the sensors, no nearby activity, no incoming ships, nothing. But something had changed. Later that night, Nathan heard a sound through the comms system. It wasn't static. It was soft, like a whisper. He turned up the volume. The whisper repeated, over and over, but it was so quiet he could barely understand it. Kai. Laya. His heart began to race. He checked the logs, but no signal had come through the standard channels. He tried to call the central station for help, but the signal wouldn't send. He tried again. Nothing. The system showed connection failed. He stared at the glowing artifact again. He had read stories about strange alien tech found in ruins. Stories where old relics did more than just sit quietly. But those were just stories, weren't they? In the morning, the radar picked up a small object rising from the surface of the planet. Nathan's eyes widened. The planet was supposed to be lifeless, no structures, no machines, no signals. Yet now, something was coming up. It moved slowly but steadily toward the station. No engine signal, no heat, just movement. Nathan pulled up the camera feed. He couldn't see the object, yet it was still far, but it was real, and it was coming straight toward him. He returned to the archive, trying to find anything more about that word. Most of the file was broken or too damaged to read, but he found a fragment that made his skin crawl. Do not speak her name. She hears, she remembers. He turned round quickly, heart thudding. The station was still, empty, quiet. He whispered the name one more time, just to test. Kelia. The whisper came back instantly this time. Not through the speaker, but right beside his ear. Double quotes, yes. He jumped, backing away, staring around the room. Nothing was there, but the temperature had dropped. His breath was visible, and the artifact's glow was now steady. Nathan sat down, hands shaking. He tried to convince himself that it was just stress, just isolation playing tricks on him. But the station was responding. The systems were shifting. Something had awakened. The file had one last line that he hadn't seen earlier. It appeared just as he was about to close it. Once called, she cannot be forgotten. That night, he dreamed of eyes silver, glowing eyes watching him from the darkness. And when he woke up, the voice whispered again, even before he spoke. She was getting closer, and she had heard her name. Nathan didn't sleep much after that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those glowing eyes. Sometimes they were far away, floating in the void. Sometimes they were right in front of him. Each time, they felt more real. He stayed at the main console, watching the radar. The object was still rising from the planet's surface, slowly, yes, but never stopping. It had no engine heat, no power signature, nothing mechanical. Yet it moved in a straight line, always toward the listening post. By the second day, it had reached the lower edge of the station's outer sensors, still too far to see clearly. But Nathan began to feel it, not just emotionally, physically. The air had become cooler. The walls made soft creaks. like they were under pressure. And the station's lights? They flickered whenever he spoke the name. He stopped saying it. But that didn't stop her from answering. The whisper came on its own now, through the walls, the vents, even from the pipes in the shower. Sometimes it was loud enough to wake him from shallow sleep. Nathan, he didn't remember telling her his name, but she knew it now. He checked the backup files. The old logs went back nearly 80 years. Apparently, the artifact had been found on a survey mission and placed here for study. Nothing unusual had happened since then until now. There was one log entry that stood out. It was written by a man named Harris 20 years ago. It said, "The artifact reacts to sound, especially certain names. I think it listens. I think it waits. After that, nothing more." No report, no warning, no follow-up. Nathan tried to send a message to command again. Using the emergency burst channel, it failed. Every signal out was being blocked. But not by the planet. It was the station itself. Something inside the system had locked all outgoing comms. He checked the maintenance logs. The internal code had been rewritten. The system now had an unknown user marked only as K.Y. Nathan's single quotes S hands grew cold. He went to the viewing deck. It had the clearest glass in the station. Outside was the endless black, filled with stars. And something else. A shape, small and far off, hovered below. Too small to be a ship, too still to be debris. It pulsed with a soft blue light, not bright, just enough to be seen. And it was rising. Nathan stared at it for a long time. He felt his heart pounding. It wasn't fear. Not exactly. It was something heavier, something deeper. He turned and walked back to the main room. The artifact was glowing more now. The silver lines were alive, moving like liquid. And in the middle, a faint shimmer showed what looked like a face, eyes closed, peaceful, almost sad. He took a deep breath. "What do you want?" he asked the artifact. There was silence. Then a whisper in return. "To be remembered." He stepped back. The voice had not come from the comms. It came from the room itself. Not just in his ears, but in his bones. He left the room and sealed the door behind him. He tried to breathe. The station was changing, and he didn't know how to stop it. Later that evening, the lights turned off completely. Emergency red lights blinked on, casting long shadows in the hallway. The whisper returned, clearer than ever. "I'm coming." Nathan rushed to the command panel. He tried to reset power, denied. He tried to override the lockdown, denied. The same strange name showed up again in the system. K.Y. He opened the camera feed. Every hallway was empty except one. A figure now stood near the artifact room. She was tall, unmoving, her shape blurred in the red light. Long hair floated as if in water. Her head tilted slightly, like she was listening. Then she took a step forward. Nathan shut the camera. His mind raced. What was she? A spirit? A memory? A machine? Or something in between? All he knew was that she was getting closer, and every system in the station was now under her control. He looked at the stars outside, and for the first time since arriving, he wished he wasn't alone. He whispered to himself, not even meaning to speak, "Kelia." The voice replied softly, "I hear you." And he knew, without a doubt, she was no longer rising from the planet. She was already inside. Nathan moved through the quiet halls of the station, each step slow and careful. The red lights above barely lit the path, casting long shadows that moved like they were alive. His hand stayed near his sidearm, though he knew it wouldn't help much against whatever Kelia was. The security cameras were still working. He checked the feeds every few minutes, hoping the figure had disappeared. But she hadn't. In fact, she was even closer now, just 2 halls away from the command room. She didn't walk like a normal person. She moved smoothly, almost like she was floating. Nathan hadn't seen her face clearly yet. Something inside him was afraid to look. He wasn't sure why, but every time he tried to zoom in, the image glitched. Even the machine didn't want to see her. He tried again to break the lockdown. He pulled open an access panel and rewired the comms, bypassing the corrupted systems. He hoped to at least get a message out, any message. But just as he finished the connection, the screen blinked. Message blocked. You already called. Nathan stared at the words, heart racing. He didn't type that. He didn't even think those words. He backed away from the console. This isn't real. He whispered, this can't be real. But a soft voice behind him replied, almost kindly, it is. He turned quickly. But the room was empty. Still, her presence filled the air like cold mist. It was getting harder to breathe. Nathan ran toward the storage bay, hoping to grab an old portable scanner. Maybe it could help him figure out what Kelly truly was. He passed the sealed artifact room. The door hissed slightly, though no one was inside, or so he hoped. When he reached the bay, he opened a locker and pulled out the scanner. It was old, dusty, but still worked. He scanned the air. The results confused him. Energy level, unstable origin, non-physical source, multiple zones, including human brain activity. His thoughts froze. Human brain activity? The scanner beeped again. Presence detected. Behind Jonathan dropped the scanner and spun around. No one was there. But he heard it again. Soft steps. Not on metal floors, but inside his mind. He remembered the field's warning, once called. She cannot be forgotten. The thought hit him hard. Maybe it wasn't just the name. Maybe saying her name gave her a path. Maybe even thinking. It now made her stronger. He tried to push the name out of his mind, but it was too late. Images rushed into his thoughts, flashes of a silver city, tall towers of light, alien people standing in circles, singing. Then fire, destruction, screaming. Kelly standing alone, watching her world fall. Her eyes full of sorrow. Nathan dropped to his knees, gasping. It wasn't just a memory. It was her memory. And now, he was part of it. She was sharing herself with him, whether he wanted it or not. After a while, the pressure faded. Nathan stood, shaking. He needed answers, real ones. He went to the central archive again. The file that first gave him her name had changed. New lines had appeared. You called. I heard. Now we remember together. They tried to erase us. But memory lives in the ones who speak our names. You are not alone anymore. Nathan touched the screen. It was warm now. It pulsed with a slow rhythm, like a heartbeat. He didn't know what to feel. Fear, yes, but also sadness. Whatever Kelly was, she wasn't just some monster. She had been someone once. Someone who lost everything. And now she had found him. The camera alert chimed again. Nathan checked the hallway feed. She was at the command room door. For the first time, he saw her clearly. Her skin shimmered like silver mist. Her long hair floated around her, not bound by gravity. Her eyes glowed softly, not bright, but deep like ancient stars. She didn't speak. She just looked into the camera, and it felt like she looked into his heart. Nathan didn't move, didn't breathe. Then she whispered, I'm here, and the door began to open. Nathan stood still in the command room, staring at the hallway. Red light filled the space, and cold air floated in like a silent fog. Then she stepped in. Kale, didn't walk like a human. Her movements were soft, almost like she was gliding across water. Her silver skin shimmered gently under the light, and her long hair moved as if caught in an invisible breeze. Her eyes, those glowing silver eyes, watched him, but not with anger. Instead, she looked at him like she had known him forever. Nathan's heart pounded. He couldn't speak. He wanted to run, but his legs didn't move. Not out of fear, but something else, something deeper. A strange calm covered him, mixed with sadness. You're real, he whispered. Kale didn't answer. With words, she stepped closer, and suddenly his mind filled with images again. Cities made of glass and stone, tall towers that reached the clouds. Alien children running through glowing fields, songs carried on the wind. Then, the sky turned red. Ships above, fire falling, screams. Nathan gasped. He backed away, leaning against the wall. The images vanished, and Kelly stopped moving. She had shown him her past. Not just memories, but emotions, her joy, and her pain. What are you? He asked quietly. Kelly tilted her head. Her voice came not from her mouth, but inside his thoughts. I was queen of the Phileri. My people lived in peace. Then your kind came, not you. But those before, they feared what they didn't understand. Humans attacked you? Nathan asked. Kalia's eyes dimmed a little. Not at first. They watched, studied. Then others came, the conquerors. They saw our gifts. They wanted to control them. We refused. They destroyed everything. Nathan felt guilt settle inside him. Maybe it wasn't directly Earth's fault, but humans had been part of the war, part of the silence that followed. You survived, no, she said softly. I died with my world. But part of me remained inside the artifact, waiting for someone to remember, to speak my name. Nathan swallowed hard. And now, Kelia stepped closer again. Her glow warmed slightly. Now, you have called me, and I live again, through you. Those words sent a chill down his spine. What does that mean? You and I are connected, she said. You whispered my name. You opened the path. Now I am part of you, and you are part of me. Nathan shook his head. I didn't mean to. I was just curious. I didn't know. But you felt it. Kelia said, her voice calm. Something inside you was drawn to me. He couldn't deny that. Even now, he felt that pull, gentle but unbreakable. He looked at her again. What do you want from me? Kelia looked up at the ceiling, as if seeing something far away. Not revenge, not power. Just to exist, to be seen, to be remembered. I don't want to fade into nothing. Nathan looked down. He understood that. To be forgotten. That was a slow kind of death. But then he asked the hardest question. And if I don't want this connection? Kelia turned her eyes back to him. They didn't glow brighter. They softened. Then I will go. I am not here to hurt you, Nathan. You gave me a voice again. I will not take what is not freely given. He didn't expect that. He thought she would force him, bind him, control him. But instead, she gave him a choice. He looked at the station lights still dim, systems still under her control. Yet now, he didn't feel like a prisoner. He felt like a guest. Slowly, he reached out a hand. Then let's talk, Kelia smiled. For the first time, it felt truly warm. She stepped forward and touched his hand. Her skin was cool, but not cold. Her light moved around their fingers like mist meeting sunlight. And in that moment, the station grew quiet, not with fear, but peace. Nathan didn't know what would happen next. But for now, he wasn't alone. After that moment in the command room, everything felt different. The lights stopped flickering. The temperature rose back to normal. The pressure inside the station felt lighter, like a weight had been removed. The station was still locked down, but it didn't feel like a prison anymore. Kelia stood beside Nathan, silent and calm. Her eyes didn't glow as much now, and her voice in his mind was quiet, thoughtful. They sat across from each other in the main room. Nathan had made 2 cups of instant coffee, more out of habit than need. Kelia didn't drink, but she watched him closely as he sipped. What happens now? He asked. She answered in his mind. Her words slow and soft. You asked, you listened. So now, I will tell you everything. Nathan nodded. I want to understand. Kelia closed her eyes. The room dimmed slightly as her thoughts flowed into his. She showed him the Philarii homeworld again. The people, the temples, the floating cities above lakes of light. He saw her, standing before her people, strong, graceful, kind. Then came the ships. Not human ships, but machines from another race. Nathan didn't know the species, but their design was sharp, full of angles and weapons. They attacked without warning, tearing the skies open. The Philarii defended themselves with strange energy, more like thought than fire. Their technology worked with their minds, not their hands, but they were not made for war. Slowly, their cities fell. Nathan saw Kelia one last time in her temple, standing over the glowing artifact. She placed her hands on it, whispering something in her own language. Her body faded, her mind sinking into the device. I placed my memory inside the stone. Her voice explained, not just my thoughts, but my will. I hoped someone, someday, would find it and speak. Nathan looked at the artifact now. It still pulsed gently. And now you're here. Yes, she said. I'm not whole, but I'm not nothing. Nathan leaned forward. How did you control the station? Kelia looked toward the wall. Machines are easy to understand. Their thoughts are simple. I touched the systems. Asked them to listen. They did. And the connection to me, you opened the path, she said. By calling my name, your voice echoed through the memory. And your mind welcomed me. He paused. Did you choose me? She turned back to him. No, you chose me. Nathan didn't know what to say. Part of him felt honored. Part of him felt scared. And part of him still didn't know why he whispered that name in the first place. Can others hear you too? Kelia shook her head. Only the one who speaks the name with meaning. Many may say it, but few mean it. You meant it. Nathan stood and walked to the window. Outside, the dead planet spun slowly. No signs of life. No lights. No cities. He whispered. What happened to the rest of your people? Gone, Kelia said. Some fought. Some fled. But their minds, their gifts, they were connected to the world. When the world fell, they fell too. So you're the last? Yes. And now, maybe not. Nathan turned to her. What do you mean? She looked at him carefully. If I stay with you, if our thoughts continue to join, I can live again. Not as before. Not with a body of my own, but with a voice, a mind. Through you? Nathan's breath caught. You want to stay inside me? No, she replied gently. I want to walk beside you. Not as a shadow, but as a guide, if you allow it. He thought for a long moment. It was strange, beyond anything he'd ever imagined. But Kelia wasn't a monster. She was alone, forgotten, and somehow she trusted him. What happens if I say yes? He asked. Then I will help you, she said. I will protect you, and through you, the Phileri will not be forgotten. Nathan nodded slowly. And if I say no, then I will fade again. I will not force you. The choice is yours. He looked into her glowing eyes. There was no anger, no pressure, only hope. He reached out a hand again, just like he had in the command room. Then let's keep walking together. Kelia smiled soft, bright, full of peace. And somewhere deep in the station, the systems began to unlock. The days that followed were strange but calm. Nathan felt Kelia's presence with him always, like a soft breeze on his mind. She didn't speak loudly anymore. Her voice was gentle, like a quiet song only he could hear. The station's systems slowly returned to normal. The lockdown lifted, and communications were restored. Nathan sent a message to command explaining what had happened. He didn't know if they would believe him. He wasn't sure he believed it himself. But something inside him had changed. Kelia wasn't just an echo or a ghost. She was part of him now. One morning, Nathan walked to the observation deck. The planet below looked lifeless, cold, and quiet. Yet, he could feel the memory of the Phileri there, deep beneath the surface. Kelia appeared beside him, silent and glowing softly. Do you miss them? Nathan asked. She nodded slowly. Every moment. Will you ever find peace? Perhaps, she said. If the Phileri are remembered, they live. If forgotten, they die. Nathan thought about this. He understood the weight of memory, the power of a name spoken. What about me? He asked. How will I live with you? Kelia smiled. We will learn together. The days passed with Nathan exploring the station and Kelia guiding him. She showed him secrets hidden in the old data maps of the Phileri homeworld. Writings about their culture, songs in a language no one spoke anymore. Nathan felt connected to a world he never knew existed. One night, alarms suddenly blared. The station shook violently. Nathan rushed to the control room. On the screens, a fleet of unknown ships approached the planet. Kelia appeared beside him immediately. They come for the artifact, she said. They want to erase the last trace of the Phileri. Nathan's heart raced. Who are they? Enemies from the past. The conquerors who destroy my people. They hunt memories and kill what remains. Nathan looked at the ships on the screen. Weapons powered up, engines burning bright. The station was small, no match for a fleet. What can we do? He asked. Kelia touched the console. We will fight, but not with guns. Nathan frowned. Then how? She smiled softly. With memory. With will. She reached out, Placing her hand on the station's core, energy flowed like rivers of light. Machines hummed with new life. "This station is old, but it holds power," Kelia said. "I will awaken it." The fleet moved closer, their weapons locked onto the station. Nathan prepared to defend the post. Kelia closed her eyes and whispered in his mind, "Remember me." As the first blast hit, the station pulsed with light. Strange energy waves pushed back the attackers' weapons. Machines moved on their own, turrets turned, shields flared. Nathan watched, amazed. The station was alive. Kalia's memory had awakened its ancient power. The enemy ships hesitated, caught off guard. The battle was just beginning. The battle raged around the listening post. Enemy ships fired bright beams and missiles, but the station's ancient defenses, powered by Kalia's memory, pushed back every attack. Shields flared like waves crashing on rocks. Turrets spun, firing with new speed and precision. Nathan stood at the control panel, heart pounding. Kalia's presence filled his mind like a steady flame, calm but strong. She whispered strategies, guiding him to target weak points in the enemy fleet. "They don't expect this," she said softly. The old power awakens. The attackers regrouped, focusing their fire on the station's core. The station shook, alarms blaring. Nathan gripped the console. "Hold on," Kelia urged. Her silver light spread through the room. The artifact glowed brighter than ever. Nathan felt warmth in his chest, a new strength rising inside him. Then, the impossible happened. The station surged forward, not in space, but in time. Visions flooded Nathan's mind, the rise and fall of the Philarii, their culture, their final moments. He saw Kalia's people singing, building, loving, and then fighting the conquerors. The energy from those memories poured into the station's weapons. Beams of light shot out, cutting through the enemy ships like knives through mist. The fleet broke apart, one by one. The last ship exploded in a silent flash. Silence returned. Nathan exhaled, trembling. Kalia's single quotes S voice was gentle in his mind. "We have won." He looked at her. "What now?" "Now, I'm free," she said. "And you are changed." Nathan felt it too. The connection was deeper. Kelia was no longer just a whisper or a memory. She was part of him, and he was part of her. Together, they could do more. He sent the station's new data to Earth, proof of the Philarii, their culture, and the power hidden in memory. He hoped others would learn, remember, and respect. Kelia smiled. "Thank you for calling my name." Nathan smiled back. "Thank you for coming closer." As the station moved back into normal orbit, the stars outside seemed brighter. Nathan knew this was only the beginning, because when a name is whispered once and heard, the universe will never let it go.